Okay. All right. All right. There we go.
So, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Miss
As
Mathis.
you can see, I love to tell my story because
Yeah,
I've been blessed. I've really had.
that's what's up.
I've seen death. Uh, I've seen miracles. So for me to be able to tell my life existence,
Okay.
it's an honor to me because first of all, I want other people to know that in this life you have a responsibility to follow God and
Right.
it's your responsibility to live up to the potential that He has put in. Everybody has that. What's no potential?
Oh, that's oil burning.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody has the potential to have greatness. Some
Mm-hmm.
degrees more than others. But the point of it is that you have a responsibility to follow what God has given you the task to do.
Right.
And if you don't do that, then you're not living what you're supposed to live.
Exactly. Hmm.
And I learned that from my stepmother because she told me, because see, I asked for her to be my stepmother. I did. My
Okay.
father asked me when I was 8, what did I want for Christmas? And I
Okay.
said, I want you to marry Miss Davis. And Miss Davis was my dance. She
Hmm.
started off being my dance teacher. She wasn't really my dance teacher in the beginning, but she taught dancing upstairs over the Elks Club where my father and her were members.
Okay.
And I used to go on Saturdays with my father. He would always go to Angas and buy the records for the jukebox.
Okay.
I'd pick out the records. I knew what was
Okay.
happening on WPHB
All right.
and on WGPR. So I knew what was hot. And so he would take me to Angas and then we pick up the records and we go back to the Elks Club and we fill up the machine and he would be stacking the bar with all the liquor and I always had a champagne, not no, not really champagne. I would have 7 Up with grenadine and cherry. And his friends would sometimes come early and they say, Diane, sing for us. And I would sing and I'd dance on the bar. And
Okay.
they would give me quarters. And so she saw me doing that. And she would shake her head and go back upstairs.
Hmm.
And so one day I heard the music upstairs. Some beautiful ballet music.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the little girls coming in with their little tutus on and their leotards. And I was like, oh, I want to see what they're doing. And I was all prepared and I would sit on the stairs, but I would
Mm-hmm.
never go inside. And then one day she came and looked at me. She said, why are you sitting on the stairs? Why don't you come in? And I said, oh, no, I don't know. She said, why not? I said, because I can't dance like that.
Wow.
She said, yes, you can. I saw you downstairs as well. I know
Hmm.
you can dance. She said, I hear you down here singing too. So I know. Well, she didn't actually hear me sing, but she did hear see me dance. And she said, come on in here. I'm gonna play some music. And I just want you to free dance. Just do whatever you feel.
Okay.
And she put some music on and honest to God came.
Excuse me. Let me say
Mhm.
something to the
Sure.
audience right quick. I'm sorry, and I apologize for the interview getting cut off the way it did. But here at Blast Over Radio and TV, we steady keeping it creative and innovative around here. So we right back on StreamYard. Okay. So those who's tuned in, if y'all can share this live video, I greatly appreciate it. This is the station where independence is first. And right here we have Diane Mathis from the Platters. So y'all show y'all love for Diane Mathis, y'all. We live. All right.
Thank you, Jane.
No problem.
I appreciate you having me here today because anytime I can talk about the blessings that I've been with um, in this music business,
Okay.
I like to share it because I don't know how many people have a dream to do what I've been doing, but it was a dream from the very beginning of my inception. I believe that I really
Hmm.
that God put me in a position to do what I'm doing because I came from a family of singers.
Okay.
Um, and I just, as I said, when my mother told me when I was a baby that I didn't cry, I sang. I sang all the time. I had a melody in my voice.
In your voice.
I did, and as I told you about that guy that said I had a sing tomboy. So I still didn't understand what he meant until when he said that, then I thought about what my mother said when I was a baby, how I would sing on. And I was always around the house making up songs.
Okay.
All the time. This is truth. I might tell you this story. And this is true. But as I was saying, I went upstairs and her name was Lorraine Davis at the time, and she said, "Come on in here and dance." And she put the music on, and I got out on that floor and I closed my eyes, and when I looked around, everybody was looking at me and they were crying. Wow. And I was like, "Whoa, what happened? What did I do?" And she said, "You are natural." She said, "I want you in my dance." The next week, she bought me guitar, tights, and ballet slippers. She told my father, "She's gonna be in my class, and that's it. Ain't no question about it." And they weren't even, they weren't talking, they weren't dating or anything. And so she would come and get me on the weekends after dance class, take me to her home.
Okay.
And she lived on Seaball.
And I lived on Seaball.
And that's where she lived. She
lived on Euclid in my early part of my years, and later on we moved on Seaball when I was 14.
So she
in Ironwood and Northfield.
Started getting my hair done. Okay. Had my first manicure. Right. Then she started taking me downtown to all the big stores down there.
And you said her name was what?
Lorraine Davis at that time.
Okay.
She was she had a modeling agency. She had about 10 beautiful black girls that were her mom. She designed clothes, fashion shows.
Lorraine Davis.
Yes, right. She ended up running a program over at the Consuline Center. She had a senior dance program over there for years. She was the first black auditor for the Detroit Water Board. She was very intelligent and very beautiful. Oh, okay. She was a class act.
Her name sounds familiar.
She did a lot of stuff. She started a program with Mr. Ira Wilson, and they had a PCA program, and it was we had a rainbow cotillion ball.
Okay.
They had a step team. Mr. Wilson was over at Central High School, and he was doing football, and he was the coach over there. So the two of them got together. He lived around the corner from us.
Okay.
And so she got involved in everything that was anything to empower people. Okay. And so I loved her. And when my dad asked me what did I want for Christmas when I was 8, I said, "Marry Miss Davis." And he said, "Are you crazy? I'm not marrying Miss Davis."
He said, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah, he did. He said, "You crazy? I'm not marrying Miss Davis. I got a girlfriend." I said, "But Daddy, I don't like your girlfriend." And the reason why I didn't like his girlfriend was because one day I was in the bathroom changing into my leotard. And she came in and she put her finger in my face. And she had them crooked nails that had ridges in it. Right. And she smelled like cigarettes and Jergens lotion. And I hated that smell combined together. That's right. And she put her finger in my face and she said, "I'm going to marry your daddy and we're going to send you away to boarding school." And I said, "What?" That's what she said. Her name was Miss Lucy. I said, "No, you're not." I said, "I got somebody I want my dad to marry. Ain't you?" And I ran out the bathroom. I never told my father that, but when he said, what do you want for Christmas?" I said, "Marry Miss Davis." I was 8 years old, and that next year they got married at Bethel Abbey Baptist Church. Wow. And they had their reception over her best friend's house. Her name was Penny. And she had a beautiful backyard, and she lived on that side of town. I can't remember the name of the street she lived on. She had a beautiful background. Okay. Rose trellises in the backyard. And after that, she became my mother. I loved her. We traveled everywhere. We used to go to New York every single year to see every play, everything that was going on Broadway. We saw it. I saw The King and I saw The Sound of Music, and with the original cast, I saw Yul Brynner and King and I saw what's her name that was in Sound of Music? I can't think of her name. I saw Eartha Kitt in a play called The Owl and the Pussycat, and I saw Sammy Davis Jr. and Stop the World, I Want to Get Off with Anthony Newley. And I knew then, I said, "Oh, I want to act. I want to do that." And I've been acting ever since. I was in my first production at Thurple Elementary School. Yeah. The HMS Piano Corps. I did. I
You
went to
was
Lincoln.
right there in the
I
neighborhood.
was. At that time, I lived on Henry,
Yeah,
2475
that's where
Henry.
I live now.
Off Henry?
Yeah,
Between what?
I live and off before you get to Grand River.
Oh, okay. Well, I lived between Linwood and South, and my mother opened a dance school on Linwood called between Philadelphia and Henry. It was called École de Dance, Marlowe École de Dance, and we used to have shows down at the Ford Auditorium. She made all the costumes. She, her costume design was amazing. She
Okay,
taught me how to sew with all the scraps from her material. I learned how to sew by hand first.
okay.
I made doll clothes, and that turned into my own fashion
Oh
line.
yeah,
Yes,
get out of here.
that's right. I did. And I made doll clothes not too long ago for one of my friends I used to work with. Her church had a bazaar, and she said, I want to know if you could make me some dolls, dress up some dolls for me. And I said, yeah. I said, do you have the dolls? She said, no, but I'm going to buy them. And I got a
Hmm.
whole boatload of material. I said, okay, will you bring me the bags of dolls? And I made shoes, hats, gloves,
Okay.
jackets for dolls this big. And she
Wow.
sold every one of them for between 25 and 75. Because
Wow.
because I like fashion, and I just use my artist, what I would like to wear. I made it for the doll.
Okay.
Some I sewed on hand, some on my machine.
So I want to go back. Okay, let's go
Sure.
back in time. I want to go back to the Platters. What year
Oh,
was that? What
okay.
year?
The platters were really, 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 really popular in the early part of the 50s. They sold millions of selling records. I
Exactly.
mean, Only You, The Great Pretender, Smoke in Different Eyes, Twilight Time,
Yeah, they had some
Wash
jams.
the Shore,
They
A
was like
Witness
they was like the
Ring.
malt shop. They was like
I love that name,
they
what
was
you
like
said.
the malt shop era.
It
It's like the
was, it's
Platters. It's
true.
like they really dominated that era.
Absolutely. It was them, the Ink
The
Spots,
ink spots,
the
the what's
coasters,
that? Sherelle.
yeah, the
Yeah, the Shirelles, the
drifters.
drifters, and
But the thing about the platter, they sold millions and millions of records. I don't know what the drifters or the coasters did. I don't know personally, but I know the platter history
so,
because I was with the platter.
right. So while them selling millions of records,
Mhm.
now I'm going back to this because all that's got to go back.
Got it?
Always got to go back to the money thing.
Well, if you want to know what that is all about, Buck
They
Ram,
sold millions of records stuff.
Buck Ram
Millions.
said, now I don't know if he did or not, because I know how people will put their name on your stuff. I
Right.
know that because
Okay.
I've seen it happen. Buck Ram says that he wrote all those. I don't know if he did or not, but I know that Tony Williams, I know they were writing songs. But when you don't know about copyright, when you don't know about publishing, they'll tell you they'll give you $5 for a song, and
Exactly.
it becomes theirs. And
Yes.
that's all the pain you're going to get. And
Yes.
that's a sad situation when you
Oh,
talk
that
about
is
millions
very,
of dollars
very,
that the
very
artists
heartbreaking.
don't get.
It's like they just take your heart and just
And that's
grind it.
exactly that
They
they
can't
do.
grind it
Yes,
no
they do.
more.
They take
And
it
then after
because
they
you're
do that,
young.
and then you know after they do that, you know what they do?
The platters, let me tell you, honestly, King, the platter, because I'm gonna tell you what I know personally about the platter.
Okay.
My personal experience about the platter. I just even tell you how I got with the platters to even be able to tell you.
Okay.
I was on the road with a group called Clever Affair. It was
Okay.
me and uh, four guys. It was Eli Starr, Daryl Mathis, and it was Phil Weaver, who was our guitar player, and Monk. His name was Paul. I think his last name was Clark. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. He was the leader, I think.
Okay.
And then there was Savon DeWan, Mark, and Greg. Um, sorry, Greg. Anyway, great thing.
Okay.
So they contacted me to join the band. I brought Daryl. So we were on the what you call the beach circuit.
All
We were
right.
doing North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Washington, Maryland. That's the circuit that we were doing. And we were booked solid.
Wow.
I mean, we went out there on a maybe and a whim.
Hmm.
And when we got out there, it was like magic.
Hmm.
Everybody in the band was we rehearsed every day. We did 6 shows. I mean 6 nights.
Hmm.
We did everything from the Platters, the Drifters, the Coasters, the Shirelles. We did everybody.
Wow.
I did Dolly Parton, and that's pretty much how we got started. We did Charlie Pride, and an agent walked up to me one day at the end of our set. He said, I want to videotape you guys because you guys should be in there. Because we were doing everybody, and I'm not just saying singing their song. We changed costumes. When I did Dolly Parton, I was Dolly Parton.
Okay.
When Charlie Pride came on, he had the fringe suede jacket with the fringes on it, and the guitar, and the big cowboy hat, and the boots.
Okay.
And then when Jackie Wilson came out, that was Daryl. And at that time, Daryl had like a process in his hair, so he was Jackie Wilson. And
Okay.
he would come sliding across the floor and grab the microphone. One day they had
I'm a
waxed the
Jackie
floor.
Wilson fan
Oh,
too.
me too.
Yeah.
One day he came, they had waxed the floor, which I thought was crazy. And he slid, he went to run. And he was running late because he's costume changing. So you got to go change it to your next costume.
Right.
He come running out, and when I saw him, he was sliding on his knees. He had fallen on his knees and slid all the way to the microphone. And he pulled the microphone and he started lonely teardrop. And I'm looking at him. And when he was at the end of the frame, he turned around and he said, "My knees are killing me." And I bust out laughing. I was like, "Oh my God. You talk about fun."
But he went on and made it part of the act. I know deep down inside
he was about to cry. He was about to cry. And then we had Phil was great guitar player. We did Journey, we did all that.
Oh,
and
wow.
then this agent
used
told
to
us,
perform Journey songs?
oh God,
Oh,
yeah,
I
we did
love
all
Journey.
the Human Nature. We did this song called Human League. I'm
Oh,
only
Human
human.
League,
Yeah,
I'm
yes,
only human.
yes, we did that. We did
That
all
used to
kinds of
run.
stuff.
That
That was
was
the jam.
fun. Oh,
We
man.
did Stephanie Mills.
There was
Platters
good, man.
in the Pit.
Oh, the 80s, man.
The music was so
80s,
bomb.
on back. 80s,
Yep.
70s,
Yep.
60s, the 50s.
Right.
Between the 50s, I want to say the 80s. That was some great music.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was
And
songs that you would remember for life.
I wish we can kind of like go back in time and that way all those creators of that good music and those writers of the lyrics can own their own stuff and really see that really would have created wealth in the black community.
And that's why we have so many
we would have owned,
entertainers.
some artists would have owned their own music and their own
You're right.
rights and their own masters and stuff.
That's
That really
the
would have
biggest
created wealth for
heartbreak.
us.
That's the biggest heartbreak.
That
I think
is.
for black entertainment.
Yes.
Because we sang these songs.
Ooh.
And I believe a lot of the songs that we wrote ourselves.
Oh,
But when you don't know about
soul
copyright,
into those records.
you don't know about publishing, they could tell you anything. And a lot of times they would tell you back in those days, you couldn't own no publishing.
Or your masters.
Or your masters. You couldn't do
when I was
that.
watching the movie, you say, Ray, what you asking is something that's unheard of, that has never been done before.
The same way with Sam Cooke. I don't care what nobody says. Sam Cooke was a brilliant man when it came down to business because he owned a record company. He owned a publishing company. And I don't care what nobody say. I believe that his death was a setup because how dare you?
He was a threat to the industry.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was a threat to the industry. And in order to raise a revolution in the music industry itself, because that's what it's going to cause. You know what I'm saying? Especially back then, for artists to own everything, that started a revolution. Right in the music. Yes, Prince.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
Owning your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of no-no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want you. I tell you something that really, really, really made me
That's why
think
Prince
about
had the word slave
slave on
written
his
on his
face.
face.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed as me being a writer, I started investigating into a lot of things what was happening back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, as far as entertainment was concerned.
Okay.
And there's one character that I wrote in this production that I wrote, and it's called "You Ain't Taking Me to Hear My Blues." Well, I had to check into the authentic things that they went through and experienced in order for my stuff to be true, what I was
Okay.
talking about, the
Right.
message that I was trying to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Mama Thornton was the first person
Okay.
that did You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog.
Yeah. Ooh.
She
And
got
that's
paid, I want to say, initially.
Hey, how you doing, brother? I'm on an interview on YouTube, man. If you could tune in, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm on an interview right now. I'm live. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello? You can go ahead and keep
Oh,
talking.
okay. As I was saying, I looked into um, Big Mama Thornton, and she was the first one that did You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. Well, she couldn't own any copyrights or her publishing or anything. She may have gotten maybe $50 or maybe even $500, but that was her song.
Okay.
So here Elvis comes along and
Right.
he decides he's going to do the song, or his people say he's going to do the song, and he makes millions off
So
of the
Big Mama
song.
Thornton. Okay, let's backtrack. Big Mama Thornton did the song Hound Dog. Okay, what year was that?
You know what? Please don't ask me years on stuff because
Okay, gotcha.
I have it written in my production. I did all my research.
Okay.
I don't remember. I know it had to be like in the maybe early part of the um, maybe 40s when she was really, doing her thing.
Okay.
And then
So actually, Hound Dog was
was her song,
was an old song by the time
a
Elvis
old
did it.
blues song.
Wow. And I heard that information before, and
And
it
that's
was
not the only songs that black people have done and it's been stolen from them. Even Jerry Lee Lewis took songs from what's his name? Who was our guy that played the guitar? I'm sorry, my mind is blank on some of the stars' names, but
okay.
Jerry
It's all
Lee
good.
Lewis did stuff that some of the black entertainers did, but they got famous. Jerry Lee Lewis got famous off of somebody else's
Yeah.
music. The Beach Boys.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
you. The Beach
The Beach
Boys
Boys.
stole a song from I can't think of his name, but it's in the movie. The story of was it Cadillac Records? Yeah, it was Cadillac
Yeah, the
Records.
Beach Boys stole. I want to say
The
that
the
was
song by
Chubby was it?
not Chubby
I mean
Checker, no.
um you know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about because I know who
The
you're
one
talking
who did
about.
Maybelline, right? That's
Yes, Maybelline,
yeah.
him, right.
What's his doggone name?
I
Can
can't
it
think.
Chubby? No, not
No.
Chubby Checker. Oh dang, it's right on the tip of my right on the tip of my tongue.
And see, that's the sad part about it. Our people have done big songs, hit songs, but do they get credit for it? No, because as soon as somebody of the other persuasion comes along and decide they want to take your style and your music, they make fortune, and then the people who actually created it, like Little Richard, he was. They always said he was the king of rock and roll because he was the one that started coming up with all it was started from the church music. And then he came into the rock and roll
I
era.
don't know why I can't think of his
I
name
know,
because
man.
I think because I really
Chuck,
like the way Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, Chuck Berry. Okay.
Chuck Berry, absolutely.
Let's see. I got to mix with Chuck and Checker.
I know.
Chuck Berry, y'all.
Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Which was he was a Native American, a black Native American. Yes, and
treated so horribly.
Yes.
But see, there's rules for us, and then there's rules for them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the money, the backing behind you as an artist, which they did not have, the people over here get all the praise and you know,
Right.
you discovered all this.
And
You
see, and
didn't do this.
and see, and this is why they were labeled culture vultures. You know what I'm
Great
saying?
name.
They're culture vultures because they
They take
just
us.
they
They
take us,
take
they take
everything we
everything we
do.
do,
That's true. That's
everything
very
we
true.
do. And now I notice, you know what I'm saying, even though like right now, see, they get paid on a lot of these songs, especially because they do jingles off of these songs. You know what
The
I'm saying?
Platters have made
And
thousands of dollars off the
so
jingles.
how did okay, same era, the same type of industry, how did it actually work out for them? Is they on that sad end of the
Well, a lot of them
or
died with no,
with no money, bro,
no,
right?
like some of the even artists from the Motown.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's sad to me
I
that
think
you have
that
all
is.
this, you have all this talent.
But see, we will get blamed for not knowing.
Well, if nobody tells you or nobody advises you
You
on
know,
these things, how would you know?
it's like okay, just say like I'm a brother, right? I'm a black man.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a black man, right? I own my own record label.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's booming. Everything we put out hit after hit after hit after hit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody around the world know about this record label. But at the end of the day, I'm the only one eating.
Well, that's for management as far as I'm concerned. If you, so, okay, this is what I look.
People
If you don't teach
thrive
your
on this,
people,
even now, right now, today, they thrive on
I
this stuff,
know.
even with the independent artists.
But if you're not taught, if you're not exposed, and you're not told, how can you get anything from it if you're not taught these things? You
Exactly.
have to start from you. That's
Exactly.
why I believe in not only in the music business, but I believe in school.
Right.
We have been failed in school because
Exactly.
they don't teach you in grade school about business management. They
Right.
don't teach you about uh, how to make a business.
Right.
They teach you the basics of math,
They teach
writing,
you what
um,
you need to know to go out and get a
and get
job
a job.
to benefit them instead of us benefiting our own.
Absolutely. They don't teach you that you
And
should learn how to
and
be
this
your own boss.
this is one of the main reasons why we really don't have our own school.
True.
Because I suggest people, why don't we put that money together? Why don't we create our own educational system?
Well,
That way we can
isn't
teach
that
our
what
kids.
Farrakhan has been teaching for you?
Farrakhan has been teaching that for years, and within the Nation of Islam, yeah, if you are a member and part of the Nation of Islam, it's good. But like I tell explain to people all the time, what if you don't want to be a member of the Nation?
Well, you don't have
By
to
us
be a
being
member.
black, by us being black,
But see,
by
the
us
whole
being
thing.
the natives of this land right here in America, we were never basically into just one religion anyway. We studied did all type of religions as
And
black
see,
people.
sometimes I feel bad for people who have been bogged down by religious uh,
Doctrine.
doctrine. That's
Mhm.
perfect. Because we have been indoctrinated to believe that the only thing that we are, if you read in the Bible, and I'm not speaking against the Bible because there are stories in the Bible that have been Bible.
Yes,
I
yes,
agree.
yes.
It's a great
It's our history book.
But
Basically.
everything came, if you realize where that all came, King James wrote his own version of it. They put in the Bible things that they need to control
Exactly.
the race.
You're right. During
And
that
they
time,
you and if you think
each
about
time
it,
period, it was revised to for that particular time
absolutely.
period.
Now, when we were in our homeland, or even when we first came over here,
Hmm.
we had teachings of our own from our culture.
Right.
But they were shut down. You can't
Hmm.
speak your language. You
Right.
can't. You don't. We don't want you to learn how to read.
Exactly.
When we want you to read, We're gonna teach you how to read from the Bible.
Right.
And what they're gonna teach you
we
is
only
that
gonna teach you
we are
how to be
subservient to
subservient.
them.
Exactly.
And when we're subservient to them, then we are righteous people. And we have to follow what their teaching is. Otherwise, okay, so really, if you think about what's going on right now with all this stuff that's going on around the country, they told us we couldn't vote.
Right.
We didn't have a right to vote. So we fought for the right to vote.
Right.
And then we were told, well, your vote don't count.
Right.
Because you're not really a citizen of this country.
Right. And see, and that's the thing, what I have a problem with. Why do we have to fight to be a part of a democracy that don't welcome you?
Because that's the way of controlling the mass.
Exactly.
If you teach
so
people
why
they're not
we
worth
come
anything,
together as Black people and build our own?
Because
Build our own networking systems, our own economy, our own.
That is all a wonderful sentiment and wonderful thought. But for centuries, we've been told by Mr. Charlie or Willie Lynch. Let's go back to him.
Yeah.
He said if you teach the races to despise each other based upon the stature they have in the house or on the field, your house nigger or field nigger.
Exactly.
You're a house nigger, you get a little more.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Based upon the color of their skin, dark against the light.
Right.
And the light people, the light kids, were the kids from the mountains. So they got a little preference over the darker skin. Okay. And they could still be siblings. They could be brothers and sisters. But if you teach them to hate each other based upon the skin tone, their age differences, male and female, then you can control the mass. And that's exactly what Willie Lynch said in his letter to the slave owners. He said, if you keep them separated, you can control them. You can control. And isn't that what has been going on? We are taught to hate each other. The crabs in the barrel syndrome is what we have been basing our whole lives on. Exactly. The haves and the have-nots. Instead of promoting us coming together based upon just because we are family, and if we did a DNA test across the continent, you'd find out you relate. I'm probably related to you somewhere down the line.
I'm really glad we did this interview because people and you try to inform people on the industry and how it works and and
the industry
it was great that you were able. Right. I'm glad you were able to come on and really share your experiences.
Well, I can only tell you from what I've seen with my own eyes.
Because people is under the impression that it's all glamour. Could you explain that? Could you explain how people can get it twisted so easy with the glamour aspect of it?
Because people want to get the glitz and the glamour before they understand what it takes to get to the glitz and glamour. They don't want to pay the price. They don't want to pay the dues to get to where they need to be in order for their lives to be prosperous. And if you got somebody holding you back or pushing you down and telling you can't, or we don't want you, look how long it has taken for women to get to where we are. We were told before the suffrage thing happened, we couldn't vote. We had no right to speak. We are subservient to our husbands. We can't get a job. We have to be at home raising the children. But after you raise the children, then what? So that means for 20 years or 15 years, you sitting at home, can't get an education. You can't get a job to take care of yourself, be independent. And so if your husband decides he don't want you no more, then what are you worth? You're only worth or valued by what your husband has given you.
I think too, that's why a lot of the older women that I know, they've got degrees. I think they got those degrees. A lot of them end up becoming stay-at-home moms, but even after the kids were grown, they were talking. I'm speaking of women that I've known. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Older women. They were still able to go and.
But look how hard it was for them to do that. Look how
no. Because okay. I'm gonna use my grandmother for example. All right, she was married, and the marriage wasn't all that great, and what I'm saying, dealing with domestic violence and issues like that. So when she finally was tired, what I'm saying, move on, what I'm saying, and she raised kids by herself, but at the same time, though they wasn't getting the raising like they should have been getting because she went to work.
Well,
So they were basically raising their son.
okay. Now I'm gonna go back a little further than that. The welfare system was set up to separate the family,
Exactly.
just like they did in slavery.
Exactly.
Was no welfare, but if you had a man in your house, they came and got him and took him and sent him somewhere else. So that broke up the family there.
Right.
You may never see that baby father. So that broke up the dynamic of a family.
So what I get is that, and I'm not really trying to raise no hell of a controversy about the situation. None, but what I get is that women didn't want to be subservient to their husband, but they were. But a lot of them same women that didn't want to be subservient to their husbands, they were subservient to the pastor, and they were subservient to the white man. But you can be subservient to your pastor, you can be subservient to the white man, but you can't be subservient to your husband. Kind of have a slight problem with that.
Well, listen
I understand that a lot of guys were abusive, and I don't wish that on nobody. A lot of guys, they should have just got dealt with. Maybe if guys would have got dealt with and wouldn't have been ratting down so hard on their women, maybe women probably wouldn't have no problem with being subservient.
I don't think it's the idea of being subservient. And see, here we go again. We talking about what they said we saw.
Right.
I believe this is just my opinion, and anybody can disagree as they want to. But this is what I feel in a marriage or a real relationship. You know, they say it's supposed to be 50-50.
That's what they say.
But let me dispel that.
Go ahead.
That you can't have a 50-50. A relationship has to be 100%. If you're not giving 100% of your effort and your time into making your family work and successful, it's a lack there. And so when we have,
I'm supposed to give my duty as a man is to give my 100%, and your duty as a woman is to give your 100%.
That's right. So now, when the husband was taken out of the home because of the welfare, the women had to become the 100%. So they had to work and try to raise the family. So of course the kids are going to suffer because mom is not there 100% of the time anymore. Right. But realistically, we as black people, black women, you can't be 100% with the family when you don't have a man in the house to step up and take over when she has to do or needs to do.
I have came across information that the record industries back in that era were like the pimps.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of the women that were signed to these labels, they were actually being pimped out through these record labels.
Listen, honey.
It's like you a singer, but the CEO of the record label is setting you up with a John at the end of the night.
I have had my own experience when I was 18 years old, and I don't care what nobody say. I talk about that because that was a very pivotal time in my life. That. Okay, I was signed to Capital Records. Okay. Right after I lost my deal with Tick Label, which was after Mr. Wingate Company went under, then someone else, which was Golden World. Golden World. Okay. Then LeBaron Taylor and George White of B.G.R radio station and George Prince formed another label. Okay. So the Debonaires, my group, signed under them, and we had several songs under that label that have been playing overseas and making money for somebody, but it ain't been for us.
Okay.
So now, when that went under, then I was called and said, hey, I want to sign you up with Capital Credit.
Okay.
But I was 18 years old. I couldn't sign the contract, so my parents had to be involved. So
Okay.
okay, they wanted me to be happy. So they said, okay, well, you want to do this? Yeah, I want to do this. So they signed me up for the contract with Capital Credit. But it was brought to me that there was an executive from Capitol Records that had some little idea in his head that he thought I was cute, and he had plans.
Mm. Okay.
He wanted me to meet him at a hotel to discuss my career,
Mm.
and that didn't sit well because my parents had to sign the contract. So why wouldn't you want to talk to my parents along with me?
Exactly.
Why do you just need to talk to me? I'm
Mhm.
18. I can't sign nothing
Right.
and say I'm gonna do this, thus, and so.
Okay.
So that didn't feel good. So I went to the phone and called my mother at work, and I said, "Mommy, this is what I was told. They want me to go to the hotel with him." And she said, "Well, you know what that means?" She's calling me Quincy. She said, "You know what that means?" Well, I said, "No. What does that mean?" She said, "That means that you be laying on the couch."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, she said, "Now I told you about the cancer house. You
Oh.
got signed up." She
Wow.
said, "You might be expected to."
How did she know about the casting couch? Was she ever
Because
in
she
there?
because she was into the business of entertainment
Gotcha.
because she did the fashion shows
Gotcha.
and she had the dance school and
Okay.
she was an intelligent woman and she knew
Gotcha.
what was
This
coming.
is your mom.
This my stepmother.
This
Now, the
stepmother,
woman
the
I
one that
told
was
you that I
raising
want
you.
my
Right.
daddy to be.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's her.
Okay.
So she always told me, she said, "Twinkle, you're smart, you're talented, and you're a pretty girl."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "You don't have to be laying on the casting couch for your career to take off.
Right.
You do not have to sell yourself to nobody to do it."
Okay.
And so I thought about what she said, and she said, "Now this is her question." Ah! She said, "You still a virgin, right?" Because I had moved away from home.
Mm-hmm.
I had moved away from home.
Okay.
I got an apartment with my best friend, and that was sanctioned by her too. You can't move out the house unless I know where you're going, who you're gonna be living with, and where the facility is you're gonna be living. Right. So I know you'll be safe. So she orchestrated all of that to happen. She paid the down deposit for me and her. Her name was Terry. Okay. For us to move down at the Lafayette Pavilion apartment. Okay. We lived in 1503. Yeah, beautiful. See strolls blinking light all night, every day. So here we were. You've been running your mouth. Down in the, oh, thank you. We were down there. And we were there. Can you open the flat? I'm sorry. So here we were down there in this park. Okay. And so she knew every move. But this is her question. You still a virgin, right? And I didn't say yay or nay. Okay. She says, so you don't want your first experience to be some old geezer. Mm-hmm. You don't know nothing about, never seen before, to have a career. And I said, oh God, no, I don't. So she said, I've told you ever since you got in this business what to expect. Wow. She said, so if you decide, this is what I swear she said. Well, she said, you can look at yourself in the mirror. That was, I'm not trying to cut you off, but that was good on her part to actually let you know what you had in front of you. Because a lot of people didn't know. And they thought they had to do these things. Mm-hmm. So when she told me that, I was at WGR radio station talking on the payphone. Okay. I came back in the hallway. And so my manager looks at me and he says, so I went to the hotel. And I said, this is what this little man said to me. He looked like a little troll. Mm. He looked like Danny DeVito and Jimmy Durante all mixed in together. Mm. He said, young lady, I can make or break. And I said, okay. So he said, well, there's no reason for you to go on and do the interview if you're not going with me. after the interview. And I said, I'm not going to. And he said, well, you don't need to go in there and do the interview. And I said, well, I'm going to do it anyway because I took off from my job. I wasn't tired.
Okay.
I took off from my interview to go to this, I mean, for my job, go to the interview, and DJ had already set it up for me. It would be like I told you I'd be here 1 o'clock, and then I don't show up.
Right.
So I said, no, I'm a person of my word. I'm a person of integrity. Because my record was playing on both sides of the 45 I had. It was called, the initial release was How Does It Feel? And Love Is All Around.
Okay.
And so when that happened, I went on in and did the interview. I sat there and talked to the guy. We laughed and talked. It was a wonderful interview. I enjoyed myself, and I went on right back to work. And do you know, within, this is no lie, within 24 hours, my record was off the radio. Wasn't saying no.
Wow.
And then on top of that, I got blessed to perform at 20 grand.
Now repeat that one more time. Because the
Okay.
people need to hear that. She said, what now? What got your record took off the radio?
Because I did not do what this man wanted me to do. And I was devastated because my manager is the one that kept trying to push me into doing it. Now, he's supposed to be in my behalf. He got my parents to sign the contract. And so you gonna sell me down the river? What was your profit in this whole situation?
Right.
But I found out later on that it was drug situation. So I was told, now I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't care, but I still didn't do it. That he would be promised so much, whatever drug, if I would go do what they wanted me to do. And I said, okay, well, I ain't doing that, so I didn't do it. And then after that, I'm telling you, this is the truth. One night I was at home and getting ready to go do the show at the 20 grand because Bobby Taylor of Vancouver liked my record. And the reason why he liked my record and heard my record so much was because my roommate, who was my friend, and friend since we were in third grade, was the front desk receptionist at Motown when we was on Wood.
Okay.
And I had my little record player. She said, can I take your record player to work? I said, I don't care. But she took my record player to work. She was playing around 45. Had my picture sitting on the desk. And Bobby Taylor walked by her and he said, so who is that? And I said, who you did that record from? And she said, this is, well, we always said we were cousins.
Okay.
This is my cousin. And she got this record out. Because she didn't know that all this had went down. I never told her. I was so terrified and frustrated about what happened.
Gotcha.
I said, God, I just didn't discuss it. So anyway, Terry called me at work because I went back to work. I'm at the doctor's office and she said, girl, you ain't gonna believe this. She said, Bobby Taylor want to meet you. And I said, Bobby Taylor, why do you want to meet me? She said, girl, he want to put you on the show with him. I said, Terry, quit playing. She said, I'm serious. He just came by my desk and told me this. And so I was like, oh, cool. Well, so tell him to come over. And so she said, well, you know, you got to call your mom and dad because you can't sign no contract. We want you to do something. And I said, oh, wow, you're right. So I called my parents. Well, I waited for him to call. He said, I want you to be at the 20 grand with me. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. And we open on Friday night. So I want you to be my open act. And I was like, are you serious? He said, yeah, he said, because I love your song. And he said, you cute. So I want you to be on my show.
Dig that.
And so I said, okay, cool.
Okay. I have another question. When, a lot of artists, right, they would like their music played on, over here first. A lot of artists like their music, would like their music played on a regular
Radio
FM radio stations because throughout history, people know that, you know, that when your music gets played on the radio, it's like you have a sense of you made it.
You've been validated.
You've been validated. Okay. Now, you have some artists, you know, you might hear their track all day on the radio. It's like maybe once, maybe twice every hour.
Which is right now.
Okay. Now, for the artists who don't get played on the radio, 9 times out of 10, what is the reason what would keep an artist's song from being played on the radio? They got all they business, everything about that record is in order.
I'm gonna tell you what
would
I know has been going
what would
on
actually
for
get that
years.
record played on the radio, and what will not get that record
If
played on the
you
radio?
can, now I'm just gonna tell you what I know. Who has what has happened? Because I've had people tell me, well, if you got, can you pay me $2,000 or $3,000? I put in regular rotation.
Okay,
If you don't have $3,000 or $2,000 for regular rotation now,
right.
you don't get
Do I
what?
get a rotation? And is it
How many
is
spins do
it
you
is
get
it
for that 3,000?
is it? I mean, is it a cheaper way I can get my music played besides three
If if
thousand
if it
dollars?
if it is, I don't know. Because I promise you that was said to me. That was said to me.
And that was back during what era was that?
Oh, I would say maybe in the 80s and
In the 80s and the 90s. So it would be fair to say like now it's like way more than that now, right?
I don't
Because I
know,
actually
but
heard of
you heard
I
you
didn't
know
actually heard of
payola.
people. I didn't actually heard of radio DJs and record radio stations getting paid like $100.
I wouldn't be surprised. I truly wouldn't. Okay, let's go back to the movie Dreamgirl.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, there was a time when the guy Jamie Foxx role was he was paying the DJ Ayola to
Mm-hmm.
play the girls'
Well,
records.
they did the same thing on Cadillac
They did
records
the
too.
same thing on Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that was a made-up scenario? No,
No,
it's not a
no.
made-up scenario. It's a legitimate scenario. I've had it said to me. Do you have? Can you pay $3,000 and can I get my record played on your station?
No.
Well, I thought if I go down there and do an interview and you like my record, because I was told, oh, I like this record.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the end of the day was okay. So me and my partner, we talked about, well, okay, so what do we have to do in order to get played in regular rotation?
Okay.
I just told
Right.
you got $3,000,
Hmm.
you got 2,500,
Hmm.
whatever. No. Oh, okay. Well, nice record.
Hmm.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. So
And that's so wrong. It's so very wrong. But they got the upper hand. They can play that card, and if you got the money to pay the payola, like they call
mhm.
it, it's not right, but it's sad, but it's
I mean,
true.
but it because it's amazing to me how people put so much trust and faith in the industry, like they can really get in this industry and make it work for them.
Well,
And
I mean, you can say it has worked. I mean, look at how people, if you get so many spins on the radio, you can sit in a hit.
right.
If your record is playing on the like for example, I listen to two radio stations throughout
But
the day.
exactly. So if I say, okay, just say you on a record label, right? You just came out with a hot new joint, right? But you know you don't have the money to take it and get the record played on the radio.
Right,
So nine
right.
times out of ten, it's the executives that's going to these radio stations and issuing this payola for these records to get played on the radio. Am I correct?
That's correct. I believe
Okay.
that.
So if I got my own record label and I got this nice artist, and I say, hey, this is the party. I say, okay, we're gonna invest in this artist. Because this is what they call it artist development and artists.
It's not really artist
Well, no, artists are gonna,
development.
but they're gonna put their money. They're gonna put their money where their mouth is. They're gonna put their money behind this artist. They're gonna pay for all type of advertising, promotion. That's where I'm getting to. They're gonna
Yeah,
pay for all
yeah.
type of advertisement and promotion, and that payola is a part of that advertising and promotion.
And
But at the same
also,
time, it's supposed to be illegal, right?
it is. I mean, it's wrong. It's not supposed to happen. Because, like, if you go back to Dreamgirls, when they talked about they were going to tell on him, paying for the payola thing in order to get Effie record on the radio. That was
Right.
taken from them and put on the girls, that would have been a good song for Effie.
Right.
So, but that's what they do. That's it. I mean, that's not made up. That's real. And if you get, like, for example, like I was going to say, I listen to two radio stations pretty much alternately during the day. If I hear something on the radio I can't stand, I turn to the other.
Okay.
Because I'm tired of hearing. I heard it 15 times already before 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right, exactly.
You know, if they start playing at 7 or 6 o'clock in the morning, I've heard it 15
You heard it about
times.
15 times by time 10 o'clock. By 12 o'clock,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear that again.
Right.
So I want to hear something different.
Right.
I want to hear new stuff coming out. But if you don't have that major financial backing from the record company, you're not getting your record.
So, you an artist, I just signed you to my label, right? I then gave you an advance. Regardless of what that advance is, it can be anywhere between 25,000 up until $1 million.
Well, unless that record is getting played and it's getting spins where money is going to start coming in, the only way I can pay the person who put the money behind me is my live performance. And then that comes out of any monies that they recruit comes to them first. Before the artist gets anything.
So they gave you an advance, which is a loan, right? They gave you $1 million advance.
And all that has to be paid back before you make it down.
Before you make it down.
And when you do your live show, then you still have to pay your band, advertisement people who promoted you to do the show.
Exactly.
The venue has to get paid their money first, and then you get your money.
Exactly. Now, that's what I'm saying. So this is the information that people need to hear, because by you being an independent artist, you have to pay for these things yourself. Understand? So for those independent artists who think they're going to get somewhere without spending money and investing money in their art.
Like my mother used to say, in order to make money,
you got to spend money.
And you have to invest in yourself. And so I'm very blessed right now because the guys that came and saying, hey, we want to work. They've been putting up the money because I don't have it. I've been retired.
Right.
I mean, I'm retired. And I still can't afford to put money behind my career because I didn't prepare properly for my retirement.
It's hard for me to keep this radio station running without money.
I understand. You got to do something every day to keep yourself marketable.
You know what pays? You know what pays for this station? My barber.
I understand.
And it's taken away from me actually living like I'm supposed to live every day.
That's right.
So I'm neglecting myself and putting things on the back burner to make this here work.
Anything worth having is worth sacrificing. Because truthfully speaking, if you don't invest in yourself, you won't make any profit.
And this is why I really wanted to do this interview, because I really want you to share this information. I really need people to understand the difference between being mainstream and being independent. You can be independent. You can be independent and still be mainstream.
True.
But you have to pay what it takes to be able to do that.
And now that things have changed with the industry as far as performances, I see a lot of my
that's why I ain't like James Brown either.
Why?
That's why I ain't like James Brown. Because James Brown, he was independent.
Okay.
And he paid for his own distribution.
But he had the money.
He said, no. He said, wait a minute. He said, well, I'm gonna get you charged on my distribution. How much it costs to actually get that? No, we'll take care of that ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, the most successful artists that have really been doing what they've been doing as an independent artist, they took responsibility for them, like Prince.
Yes.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Owning publishing, owning the Beatles collection.
Right.
that is profitable to them, they are likely to be a real successful person in the business.
Exactly. In
Because
the
if you
business.
don't own, if you don't have to pay 5 places over here,
Hmm.
you can keep that money and invest it back.
Actually, I heard that before. I heard that Michael Jackson actually was talking to Paul McCartney, and he was asking, "What can I do to really make a difference in the music industry? You know, besides just being a slave." He was like, and he told him, he said, "Own your own master."
And
So
that's
they said that,
exactly what he did.
and
He
he went
bought
and
the
bought the
Beatles
Beatles.
master. Smart move.
That was like
I
when I
feel it
first
was
heard that, I
dangerous
was
for him,
like,
but
"Whoa!" No, I think really what was dangerous from him was when he, I think it really got dangerous from him when he went up against, uh, I don't want to get off into mention names, but he was the president for Sony,
I know.
and yeah, okay, and again he turned around and end up buying 50% of. I think that was what made
Well,
us
I don't know what that whole thing was about, but I do say this that sometimes when we as black entertainers they
hmm
consider us getting too big for our britches,
hmm
uh, it kind of shuts you down, puts you in a place where they gotta come back and pay. But that's but isn't that what this whole country is about?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know.
And
I
then
just
I always looked at us as three. They still right now today because that's a three-fourth of a human being. I don't know why people don't understand that part.
well, like I said, this thing was they were never intending for us to become full-fledged citizens.
No, they was
We were just
they
we
were
were a
actually.
property.
If it was left up to them, we'd still be on the plantation right now.
Oh,
If it was left
absolutely.
up to them, we would have never been free if it was left up to them.
No, but see the rebellions that we have done,
And we still not free.
and
It's
we
just
not.
you just have a sense of freedom,
Well,
but we still not free.
no, we're not because as long as they control how things are run, just like for example with this last thing that happened, this last one, I've never dreamed in my lifetime that I would see anything as crazy as what happened on this month.
Okay.
With them storming the Capitol.
Right.
But there again, if it had been Black Lives Matter, oh, it would have been a massacre.
Yes, that's all we've been talking about. That would have
It
been
would have
black
been
folks.
a
They'd have still been
massacre.
picking up bodies and putting us in body bags.
Yep, they would have been doing that because an upsurgence of black people, that's not going to happen. And that's why I really have been saying for the longest time,
It really,
America's
them doing
terrorists.
that really lets you know, and really, people actually got to see, the masses has got to see white privilege at its best.
Oh my God. But, and I'm wondering now what's going to happen with this going out president. Are they really going to prosecute his behavior? Because what he has done certainly is sedition. It's
Well,
against
I
the
don't know. You
Constitution.
see, the thing is, I'm not, I don't know whether he's done it or not. We going
What you
by,
mean you don't know
no,
if
I
he's
mean,
done it
we
or
know
not?
what he said. We know what was said. We know, according to the masses, that he incited it.
Yes, he did.
But
That's proven.
that, okay, they haven't proven it to me. I guess
How
maybe
have
I'm
they
not,
not proven that to
maybe
you?
I'm not really paying attention to it. Like,
Oh, come
you know
on.
what I'm saying?
Come on,
Because
Shane. Come on now.
no,
Listen.
no,
Wait,
no,
wait, 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 wait.
because I have inside intel.
Okay, you may have inside intel, but when a president gets on TV and says, "Oh, I love you guys. Um, stand by, stand down." In other words, until I tell you what to do, and he says before it happens,
Mhm.
I'll be with you marching to take over the Capitol. How
Okay,
much
see,
clearer do you have to
I
hear
didn't
him
hear that.
say
I
that?
didn't
I
hear it.
did.
I didn't
Everybody
hear
I
it.
know heard.
Well, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I didn't hear
Oh,
it.
okay. Well, he
No,
said,
but I do think, I do think that it's some other stuff going on that the masses don't know about, and I know it's some other stuff that they don't want the masses to know about.
Sure.
And I know for certain that the same people that he's been going after is the ones that got a problem with. See, a lot of people don't understand. They think that a lot of the work that's going behind the scenes, which I'm not going to share
Well,
because
I know, I
you know
understand.
it's a lot of stuff going
It
behind the
is, it
scenes.
is, it is.
If you notice, if you pay attention to, they didn't crack down on this human trafficking ring. A lot of politicians, a lot of rich Hollywood people is involved in these things.
Yeah.
I do know. I don't want to quote the number wrong, but I really know that it was at least about a 450-man indictment on these rich, powerful people.
I
You
understand.
understand? So, it's like he's at I'm not condoning anything. I'm not a Trump supporter or nothing. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? But I do understand a lot of the intel that's going on. And um, it's like when you try to communicate that to the people, they seem like it's too far fetched, but they're not really talking about it.
Well,
And I want to point one thing out. Do you remember when he was running for office and him and Hillary Clinton had the debate? He told Hillary Clinton, do you remember what he told Hillary Clinton at the debate?
I really don't.
He said, I'm going to have you locked up for crimes in humanity. That's what he told her on the debate.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know if it will happen, has happened, but I do know if anybody has committed crimes on humanity, things that he gets done, that crime. When you tell a group of people.
See, people see the president really don't have no power.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, so anything that the president does is coming from
somebody else.
Somebody else. So he's just a front man. That's what a lot of people.
Well, let me ask you this, Jane, because you got to see this. You got to see this. We have always had rape.
Exactly. Yes.
That is not nothing new that just started happening in the last 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 years. It's been going on for the complete inception of this United States of America.
Exactly.
It's never stopped. It hasn't changed. It's still it's just come in different little increments and different forms.
Exactly.
But my problem with this whole situation is this. Like you said, they've never wanted us to be 100% full-fledged Americans. Because they don't consider us to be full-fledged humans.
Even though we foundational Black Americans, and a lot of Black people was here on this country before the first slave ship, the first European ever ended up on this country. So
absolutely, and it's been documented back from times before now that the Black people are the first human beings.
It's a man Tariq Nasheed, and you said you have the hidden colors.
Yes, I do.
1 through 5.
I have all 3. I got 1 through 5. I don't know what I did with 5. My son brought it to me. I don't know what I laid it down.
Which I like a lot of that information that he shared in those documentaries. I knew a lot of that information because I am a Moor, and I know a lot of that stuff that he shared. So that's why when he came out with the hidden colors 1 through 5, it was just a strong validation for
I learned
brothers
about
like me who've been studying this damn near all our life.
I knew about the Moors from my dad. My dad told me stories when I was growing up, and I thought they were stories that what he was saying to me. But as I've gotten older and done my own reading and research, I'm like, man, my dad was not just a crazy alcoholic.
This is actually Moorish land.
Oh, I know.
North, South, and Central America.
And the thing is that
known as El Morocco.
We have been creating, we have been changing the narrative for centuries, and nobody wants to keep on. There is, however,
that's because of racism.
That's what I'm saying. Racism doesn't want you to believe that we are anything other than their slaves, and that's all we good for. And we ain't never gonna be no more than that. That's not true, because we are gifted people. We are amazing scholars.
Shout out to Dr. Francis Cress Wilson.
Amen. I just saw some things on Facebook the other day, blew my mind. It's two young kids that have the highest IQ in the young, like 11 years old.
Wow.
I just saw that the other day, and I was like, hey. And then I think about some of the things that we have actually done, all the things we have created, like the young lady who is a gymnast, who has scored all the gold medals. Doing they now they're naming movement after her because of her ability to do these, like she's flying in the sky. But they want to say it's steroids and all. And it's not steroids. This girl has trained because this is something that God gave her the gift to do. And I'm telling you, I believe this with all my heart. So what God gives you is better than anything you could probably think of or create. Right. I don't care who it belongs to. If God is giving it to you, then that's what it's going to be. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. And it's going to be more than anybody can imagine.
Okay. Okay, now moving right along. We've been kicking. We've been going down through there. Okay, so what's your plans? What's your plans? Because you really taking me down through history, and I really appreciate this because I've been wanting to do an interview like this so long.
What's my plans? You mean for my music?
For your music, what's your plans? You know what I'm saying within the next year or so. Are you scheduled to be performing anywhere or?
At this point, no, because of what's going on with
the
COVID situation.
Okay,
but I do want to create something that I can do on the internet, just like everybody else with my material, my original material.
Okay. And I was going to do that too. I was going to invite you over to my platform if you didn't mind. Go over to here at Blast Over Radio, and you can put together your own platform. I would really appreciate it if you would come and do it.
Well, I would. I really would love to do it.
Okay.
Also, I am a playwright, and at this point in my life, I don't know what's really going to happen. I know what I want to happen.
Just do but what
my
you do.
Play is so involved in the uplifting of women. It's called, and I just give you a general synopsis. Story about a young woman by the name of Diane, and she has made it in the music business. And she has this horrible, terrible attitude. And her attitude really comes from her backstory, that she's been violated sexually by her sister's boyfriend. And I based that story concept on my own personal experience because I was violated as young. And so when I started writing this story, everybody kept saying, "Well, why is she acting like this? What's she doing? Why is she doing these things? What's wrong with her?" Okay. And so I gave that story because 99 million women across the country have been sexually harassed, physically abused, sexually by someone that was very close to them. And if you, back in the day when I was growing up, you didn't talk about them. Your family said, "Oh, don't tell nobody that Uncle John touched you, or even your cousin Ann touched you." You don't talk about those.
And this is the type of thing that upsets me sometimes because here we is a person like me, myself personally, I'm an advocate on rebuilding and trying to and being a part of rebuilding the Black community. But I know in order for us to build Black community, we have to build Black love.
Well, that's part of it. And a lot of things that people don't understand or don't even want to talk about, especially in the Black community. They don't want to talk about getting comfort because it was been told for years. Oh, you don't go tell nobody that's a stranger and you don't know this person what happened to you back when you was 2 years old.
Picking my brain.
And not only that, I'm not gonna tell my family secrets because they tell you don't tell who did this and what and so. So now you got all this built up inside of you for years, and you're thinking there's something wrong with you because this happened to you. Exactly. But if you were a child, you didn't incite it to happen. You didn't invite it to happen. You didn't seduce nobody. Right. This happened because of some sickness that's going on inside of the person who violated you. So that's part of what I want to address. And I'm way before my time with this because what I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying this is because I wrote this piece. Honestly, I wrote this piece in 2000 and I want to say 2004.
Oh, okay.
And so the Me Too movement was not even talked about. Nobody spoke about being sexually violated. Nobody talked about being violent or raped and having a baby out of wedlock because of that. I
And
mean,
what
if
about
you,
what about a lot of the older women, that were molested and their fathers used to have sex with them while they was coming up.
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody
This
talked
is
about
this
this.
is and this is the reason why we have the issues and why the black man is not trusted in the black community.
Absolutely, because
One of
he's
the reasons,
always
one of the
been
main reasons.
he's been the perpetrator all the
Right.
time, and ain't no telling what happened to him.
Because this thing was passed down from former slave masters and all this plantation stuff was passed down from generation.
That's right.
This is deeply rooted in people's subconscious mind.
But it's got to
You
stop
know,
somewhere.
a lot of it went unnoticed back in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the women knew that these fathers was doing this to their kids, their children.
They did, but because they wanted that man to still be in the house so they could have a relationship,
Exactly.
they didn't want. They looking at the daughter sideways. What did you do? What did you say? What did you have on? All that kind of stuff. And so that has been a big issue between us as families, as black families, because we were told to shut up, don't talk about it,
Yeah,
don't bring it up no more, don't tell nobody.
Mental illness run high in the black community because
Of
a,
all that
a
we've
lot of
been
that,
through.
a lot of that,
Absolutely, that's true.
a father could have fathered a child by his daughter, and then somebody plant a seed in that daughter. She already, her
Messed
mental
up.
frame of mind is already messed up.
And so if
And then
you
you plant
don't
a
get
seed in
some
it. So you
counseling,
got she messed up and all her kids is coming up. Children is coming up messed up. I've seen that. I know a house that live on my block right now is like that.
I have two king. I'm telling you, that's why I wrote this story. Well, first of all, I wrote it to a guy named Sue.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why this is how it came to be, and I don't care who believes me. When I tell you something has happened to me, I'm telling you what the truth is about what has happened to me. I can't make this stuff up. Why would I want to make it up?
Mm-hmm.
Because anybody can say and at any time, oh, she crazy, or she just made that up. No, I'm telling you, if I tell you an experience that I have had,
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you the absolute God honest truth.
Okay.
Because between me and God, we the ones that know what happened. I don't care what you think or what you feel about what I'm talking about. Because
Right.
I know what I experienced.
Right.
This is how this whole story came to be. I was down at Fox Theater and I performed there twice in my lifetime.
Okay.
The first time I performed down at Fox Theater was with Jim White.
Okay.
He had a Motown show. He did everything that the Motown show. I was Tammy Terrell. He had the Marvelette Screams, the Temptations, everybody. He had everybody in this show.
Okay.
We did it down at Fox Theater.
Okay.
It went on the road. It was a great show. Anybody who's singing now came from that show.
Right.
Jim Young put those people, White came, brought those people together and put this show together.
Right.
Okay, so that was my first time being. So the second time I was there, I was with a school called Rumpelstiltskin, and I said the next time I go down to the Fox, I'm putting my name on the wall as an entertainer that performed at the 20 Grand. Because I see all these signatures on the wall. I put my name up on the wall. So I made sure I took my magic mark and put it in my bag.
Okay.
So when I'm going upstairs to the dressing room, all of a sudden, you okay? You got to go on that rug. So that
yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
So not the rug, but the ledge on your chair. So what happened was, all of a sudden, these women, Billie Holiday,
okay.
Their faces came to me as I'm walking up the stairs, and they said, "Tell our story." And I stood there totally perplexed. I didn't know what was happening. I was freaking out. I was like, "What? I don't even know your story. Some of you people I do know about, I know of, but I don't know your story.
Right.
So I put my name on the wall, and as soon as we left there to go to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, because we were performing at this place called Mortimer Show,
Okay.
and we were downtown. And I said, I gotta find me a library. I gotta find me some place that I can look into what they did and who they are. Why do I need to tell stories?
Okay.
And when I started, I got movies, I got books, I started finding out stuff about what these women have went through and all the doors that they opened, sexual harassment, the racial experiences. They were told they couldn't play here, they couldn't play there. I had already went through that. I was told I couldn't play at a place. I could play, but I had to sit in the dressing room where the men changed their clothes. I couldn't sit out with the white patrons. And so I experienced that, being told that I couldn't sit out there because the women who I was performing for got mad because some of the men that come to see my show would buy me drinks or go and pay for my food at the end of the night. When I go to pay for my food, it would be paid for.
Okay.
But I didn't ask nobody to do that.
Right.
Because I order food, I expect to pay for my food when I go to pay for my bill. Oh, don't worry about it. I was like, why? Why would somebody pay me a bill? Well, they said they like your show. They were.
Right.
But the women decided I don't want her sitting out because when the women would go up there to the bar with them and they get ready to leave and find out they pay for my meal, what is she doing? Is she talking to my man? Is she with my man? All of the crazy stuff. I was married. I wasn't interested in none of the people. So that was my experience of being racially profiled. Want me to sit in the stinky dressing room where the guys change their golf club.
Right.
So I said, oh my God, I've been sexually violent. I've been raped. I've been doing all of that.
Right.
So I said, okay, their lives are no different from mine. They just are in a different space to tell their story. And so I started doing my research. When I got to North Carolina, I went to the library every single day and got movies and plays and books and everything. I read everything I could find out about these women. And then I said, okay, so now what am I doing with these women? Well, because this young girl has telling people that she done all this on her own and she done made her own way and ain't nobody never helped her do nothing and she's fabulous and she's better than anybody else. I said, so why do I need to tell her that she's wrong?
Right.
And it came to me. These women open the door for you. So they decide the premise of my story is this. They're all in heaven, even Aretha Franklin. I added her in at the last minute.
Okay.
Every one of them have been through something that opened the door for this girl.
Right.
So in heaven, they're sitting there having their tea, laughing, talking, and welcoming Aretha into. Well, I had did this before Aretha passed away. Okay. But they're talking, and they figure, look, we need to go and visit this girl and tell her what she's doing is a slap in our face. Because we opened the door for her. She can't be talking about she did all this on her own. She thinks she is. We done paid a whole lot of dues. That's where the title comes. You ain't paying no dues to heard my books. But I've been through. So that's my story. So they come back and they take her on a journey into their life. Then they take her into the future and show her what happened to her. She don't get her attitude together. So it's a celebration of all the women who opened the door. Okay. It's a celebration of uplifting each other and empowering each other to know that you still, even though you got all these things that have happened to you, you're still worthy. Right. You're still someone to be respected and honored. But you got to have a humble spirit in order for this to happen. Yes. You can't be walking around talking about, I did this and I did that, and ain't nobody helped me. You're crazy. Ain't nobody on this earth doing nothing by themselves. Right. When I write a song, I can't do it by myself. I need music to accompany what I'm doing. I can come up with the greatest melody and the most fantastic lyric ever. But if I don't put it to some music, what have I got? Right. I got a nice poem. I got a nice poem. That's it. But see, when I call on my friends and say, hey, listen, I got this song. Can you listen to it? And this is what I hear. Now I can't play no instrument, okay? I probably can't even play a kazoo. But I can tell you what I hear in my head. Because as a little girl, I swear I used to sing musical notes.
Mm-hmm.
in my sleep. I would see music. I heard melody all the time. And so I could say, okay, this is how I want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a keyboard player or guitar player can play that. They can tell, oh,
Right.
this was a G75 and an F9, and I can't tell nobody that, but I can tell you what the melody is that I hear in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I still need somebody else to help me create the song that I'm trying.
Okay.
So ain't nobody doing nothing on their own. I don't care
That's
who you
right.
are. You got to have somebody. If you don't have no customers, you can be say I'm a barber all day long, but if
Right.
you don't have nobody coming down here for you to cut their hair, what's the purpose of you having the skills to be a barber if you don't have no
Exactly.
customers to do the job?
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? So we
Exactly.
all in this together,
Exactly.
and that's the premise of my story. That she has to learn respect for the women who open the door and honor them for what they sacrificed for her to be where she is,
Okay.
and take her to a place where she can understand.
Right.
I need everybody who's been in my life to help me get myself.
Exactly.
'Cause I'll never take nothing for granted.
Well, I sure appreciate you coming. I sure appreciate you willing to be a part of the Blast Global Radio and TV
Thank
family.
you. Thank you. I
The
appreciate
platform
you.
is open, wide open for you. You know, we radio and TV.
Okay.
I'm a partner. I am Blast Global Media. I'm a full service media group, and my partner, which is Squeaky Media, he's upstairs now. I thought he would have came down, but maybe he's probably watching us right now
Okay.
upstairs. Um, and I'm gonna take you upstairs too after we
Okay.
done with
So I
this,
can
so I
hang
can show you
out.
what's going on.
Okay.
But I do welcome you, Mrs.
Thank
Mathis.
you.
This is Miss or Mrs.
It's Miss, honey. I'm
Miss.
divorced, so
Okay,
it's just Miss.
Miss
I'm
Mathis.
I'm waiting on my
Y'all
king
show y'all
to
love.
come.
You
I'm
got,
waiting on
you,
my king.
you better go get him and quit playing.
I
You
ain't
ain't gonna
gonna.
wait.
I ain't
Ain't
gonna
no
go get.
waiting.
Listen,
You can't
I'm
wait
not
these days.
saying
You
okay, but
got
I
you
really
got you got to
changed
get
that.
them.
But I am not going to because I believe that a queen needs a king, but the king has to recognize the queen.
Right.
Because if the
Exactly.
king doesn't recognize the queen, I'm not going out here because see, I made choices
Right.
and they were the
Okay.
wrong choice.
There's the wrong
So
choice.
I'm waiting for
Well,
that
that's
sanction
yeah.
from
You got
God
to.
to say, that's your man.
No,
That's
when
your
you get the
husband.
sanction
Whatever.
from God is when he gonna walk up to you and say, "This is your sanction from God."
Well, hey, I've heard people tell people
Yeah.
that God spoke to them and told them, this is the man that you're supposed to be, or this is the woman that you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
know God has spoken to me.
Yeah. Well, he speaks to me all the time through a still small voice.
Yep.
He speaks to me
Well,
all the
sometimes
time,
he
and I
speaks
listen.
to me with a big old voice that knocks me off my feet. And
Yeah,
I'm
knocks
so
me
serious.
off of my feet. Hey, she gonna quote her ex-boyfriend lyrics
Now that was
from 40 years ago.
that ain't even my attention, but trust me, sometimes you
I
have to
love
go
it.
back.
I love it. So, yeah. So, I want you to before we end this, I want you to explain to the people where they can find your music and how they
Okay.
can keep in contact with Miss Diane Mathis.
Well, it will be on YouTube, iTunes, Amazon, every streaming service. After hopefully by March the 15th, we will have everything up and running. But it is now. I'm so excited. It's playing in Washington. It's playing in Virginia. It's playing in the UK. It's so many every day. I get a note from my producer. Guess what? We got a new radio station in the UK that's playing this song. I even talked to one of the DJs last
Well,
week.
guess what?
His name is Al
We're
Stevens.
right here on Blast Global Radio.
Yeah, you're playing it too.
You're being played on Blast Global Radio
Awesome.
along
Thank you.
with a lot of other artists from the UK.
Oh, I believe
How
that.
about that?
I've been listening to some of the stuff from the UK. Oh my God, it's some artists in the UK that's
And artists in the rotation right now
from
the
God,
UK.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what is so amazing to me, and it kind of hurts my heart too because my stuff has been playing in the UK with the Debonair for years.
I remember you telling me that.
I'm not kidding. Stuff I did in the 80s is playing on YouTube and in the UK, and I have not received not one Not one penny from.
Wow.
But I have been informed of a service that will investigate into it. I filled out a page, 22 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and sent it back about a month ago. And I'm waiting to hear what they have.
Okay.
Because I know for a fact, I didn't even know some of my stuff was panned in the UK.
So
A friend of mine sent me.
is it, do you have, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna cut you off,
That's okay.
but do you have, is that a single or is that on an album?
Well, no, all of the songs that were with the Debonaires were
I'm talking about Welcome
individual.
Back Home.
Oh no, it's
Welcome
going
Back
to
Home, which is the
be,
new joint.
yeah, it's
Welcome
gonna
Back Home.
be on a five CD
Oh, it's gonna be
thing.
on an EP.
Yes, it's gonna
Okay,
be on
okay,
an EP.
EP.
I'll give you the names of the ones that are gonna be on it. Slow Love, which I'm really excited about. Slow Love. I'm loving everything, but
Yeah,
Slow
because you know when
Love.
you get older, y'all gotta get that slow love, man. When you get
Yeah.
old, it's that
Well,
all thing gotta be slow.
no,
No, I'm
that
just
and it ain't about being slow.
Mhm.
It's about that consistent
Yeah, consistent.
consistent
Right.
love. And I
Gotcha.
got the idea because my bass player said, gave me this music. He said, listen, this is the title of this song. What can you come up with slow love? And I listened to it. We were going up to my keyboard player's house to work on actually we were on our way up to work on Welcome Back Home.
Okay.
And so when he played it in his truck, I said, ooh, I like this. I said, so what do you have in mind for the song? He said, I don't know. I just came up with the title. So when I started, I was sitting right next to him because God has given me something I can just come up with right quick,
Mm-hmm.
right now. And I started saying what this concept was gonna be. He's like, dang, you got something already? I said, I do. So when we got up to my keyboard players, I was like, let me put it down right quick before I forget it, before it'll be out of my head. And we did a rough draft, and the next thing I know, they was like, dang, we got a song. So that was it. So now we have that, we have chitter chatter. And my cousin was over my house not too long ago, and she actually lives in California. But she came to stay with me for a while. And I was playing this music that I was giving because the guys come to me often with music. They write a song. So I heard this song.
I just sent you a copy of the show
Oh,
that I was
cool.
playing. That's what you just heard.
Okay, cool. So I didn't have anything. My head wasn't, I just couldn't get it together. And she said, oh, I got something for that music. Can I write lyrics? I said, I don't care. So she went in my other bedroom and I went in my room and I turned off the lights and I just laid down and just pulled up for me because I had been struggling with this music for
Okay.
long. And she came right in 10 minutes and came in and sang on my phone. And I was like, sure,
Hmm.
we got a song. And it's called You Caught Me Off Guard.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be the jam.
I
You
can't
caught
wait
me
to
off.
hear it.
So
Because
we
that
have,
Welcome Back Home is fire.
and then
And
we
I
got
wish I
chitter
could play
chatter.
it right now because I'm on a different device.
That's
It's not
okay.
going to sound too good if
That's
I play
okay.
it through
That's
here.
okay.
But that's all right because you will be back. You will be part of Blast Bubble Radio. We will have this interview again. To talk about some more stuff because I'm really loving it. Shoot, I might just need to make you my co-host, huh?
You know what? I would love to do that, King. Honestly, I would love to do
Oh
that because
wow.
I have so many things that I want to address. And of course, only I have to tell you about my organization.
Okay.
I have a sister organization, and we call ourselves Mathis.
Okay.
And we are an empowering sisterhood. Just the other day on Saturday, six of my friends we all got together and we did the pearl challenge for
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris. Everybody wore their own pearl
Okay.
ensemble,
All right.
and we all talked about what it meant that Kamala Harris is going to be the vice president of the United States as far as a woman is concerned. What we felt about that, and so everybody said what they wanted to say, and so my sister put all the pictures and then their interview. And on the 20th, we're going to upload it to YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. And so everybody can see what we're doing. We did, You Ain't Paid No Dues, my production. We did it down at the Aretha Franklin Jazz Cafe for Black History.
Okay.
2019, we had a sold out performance. People were just really excited because so many people don't know what these women did. So we are a group of women that want to empower. We
Right.
want to uplift our sisterhood because we've been through so much, and especially
Mm-hmm.
2020. Some of
Exactly.
us have lost family members and really good friends. Like I've lost friends, and it's been devastating. So
Right.
we're just doing stuff to empower and engage each other in positive uplifting
Mm-hmm.
for each other because we need that. We need that in our community.
Yes, we do. Yes,
So
we sure do.
anything that I can do, because I'm always trying to empower young girls, because like I said, I was very blessed to have the mother that I was blessed with, Miss Rain Hope.
Yeah.
Um, she just she changed my life. She really did because as I said before, I don't know if I told you this before, as my siblings called me black, that was so heart
Yeah,
wrenching to me.
you said
But
that.
this woman stood me in the mirror when I was 11 years old. She said, "So
I don't know why they
Twinkle,
called you black.
because I promise you, when I was a little girl,
Same complexion as me.
well, I'm a little more chocolatier than you are, but she was real light skinned. But
Mm-hmm.
my siblings were all lighter than you and I both together. They were
Right.
all light skinned, and they called me black. And so that was the problem for me. So one day when
Wow.
she stood me in the mirror, we were just, in the house talking, and she stood me in the mirror because she had bought me this beautiful chest that she had painted up and put new knobs on and put red velvet in the drawers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mirror. It looked like a medicine chest. Two folds up. When you open it, was three. One in the
Okay.
center and two on the side. She said, "Tell me what." I don't know why she did. But she said, "Tell me what you see in the mirror." And I said, "Oh, little black thing." And she turned me around and she said, she held my hand so tight. She said, "Don't you ever let me hear you say that again. You are not a little black thing." She said, "I see a sweetheart, talented, beautiful young lady in the mirror. And that's what I want you to say every day when you get up there. You're smart, you're talented, and you do." And she said, "The best thing to be is a good person. And I want you to be that too." And when I saw that movie, The Help, when I saw that movie, The Help, and Viola Davis, did you see The Help?
Yeah, I see
Okay,
that.
now you remember the scene when she's talking to the little baby, the white baby, the mama was just,
Mm-hmm.
just didn't want to have nothing to do with her. She said,
Yeah.
"You is." When I saw that, I cried. I'm in the movie just crying, and my girlfriend's like, "What you crying for?" I said, "Because my mother did that to me. My mother did the same thing to me. She stood me in the mirror and told me I was beautiful and I was smart." I said, "It was like they took a piece of my life and put it on the screen."
Mm.
That just blew me away. I said,
I
because I
know it
had never
did.
heard nobody else say that before until my mother said that to me.
Hmm.
And I never called her my stepmother. I
Wow.
called her my mother because she came on and came into my life at 8 years old, and she took on the responsibility of being a mother.
Okay.
She made sure I got everything I needed for school. She made sure I had clothes. She made me, my self esteem and my self awareness became. I was able to look at myself and see myself with beauty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so I thank her for that because she could have been one of them stepmothers that was mean and hateful, but she
Right.
wasn't. I never even told nobody in school that she was my stepmother
Wow.
because I didn't want, because I had a friend who had a stepmother and she hated her. She always talked about how mean she was and how she didn't stand her and she was her father had married her and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And so when she kind of scared me when she was saying stuff like this, I said, "Well, I don't have that kind of stepmother, so I'm not going to speak that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to speak that she's like that because she wasn't like that. I mean, she
Right.
had her issues and everything, but rightfully she had because my
Right.
father was not the best husband.
Hmm.
Okay,
Dig that.
my father was a womanizer. I'm just being real.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just being straight up about my dad. My father was an alcoholic and he was a womanizer.
Womanizer.
And when I saw him with his one of his women one day, just before he died, he was in the car across the street from my job, and I needed some money. I was working at the doctor's office, and it wasn't payday, and I said, "Oh, my daddy across the street, right out the street from the
Mm-hmm.
Elks Club." I said, "I went out there to get money from my dad." And I went over there. I said, "Hey, Daddy, how you doing?" And I see this little lady sitting in the car, and she looked like my biological mother. Like I told you, she was real nice, real pretty little face, long
Mm-hmm.
black hair. I said, "Daddy, who was that in the car?" He said, "Oh, that's Eric." I said, "Joe, what?" He said, "My girlfriend." I said, "Daddy, you got a wife at home. What you talking about? That's your girlfriend." I said, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself." And he's like, "Come on. Okay, okay, what you want? What you want? What you want?" I said, well, I came over to get some money. He pulled out $100 bill and said, will that shut you up? I said, oh, hush money. I'm serious. I was 18. I said, oh, this is hush money.
Oh,
I said, I just wanted 20, but I'll take the 100.
right.
And I said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, but I would never went home and told my mother that was her.
Yeah, that would have.
Never. But I'm gonna tell you what he did that really broke my heart. When he died, there were so many women that went past his car, screaming and hollering like they were dead. And my stepmother sat there like the queen that she was. She didn't move. I didn't see her eyes back. I said, her eyes gonna be okay? Because I didn't see them back. Did you know you bat your eyes and you don't even realize you bat your eyes? She didn't bat her eyes. And I was like, oh my God. So I held her hand real tight and I said, oh, you know, she didn't say a word. She didn't open her mouth the whole time. And she told me before, right when my dad died, I'm not doing anything for your father. It's your father. It's your responsibility. Said, all time in good time. And at first I was doing her. I was like, I was very, I was 20 when my dad died. So I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. So I handled my father's business. That was crazy to see all these women. And that same woman I told you that was in the car, she was sitting right in front of Spencer in the home, and she kept doing this, looking in the doorway. People, she did not refuse something.
Wow.
And this is true. I'm telling you, when I write, well, I've been working on my own project.
That's good. That's good. You got a good one.
I know.
You got a good one. You got a good one.
And my title is Coming In Out of the Pain.
Yeah, you got
and my picture cover, I already drew that up. I already set up. It's a young girl up under an umbrella, and the words hurt, pain, disappointment. I got all kind of words that have. It's like rain coming down on the umbrella, but it's pain, disappointment. You
know. Okay. So we gonna wrap this show up.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate those. So I want you to tell people how they can follow you, how they can, see everything that you're doing. Just go ahead and lay it out for them.
I will. I have to send just before I got here. My co-worker, my co-producer called me and said, "When you going to do the interview?" I said, "I'm gonna go out the door in 20 minutes." He said, "Okay, let me know when I can hear it." I said, "Well, when I get back home, I'll tell you exactly how you can do it." So because he was at work.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to tell him at the
time. I can send it to him right now.
Okay, so you need his phone number to send it
to him? Yeah. I'm gonna send it to him right now.
My phone right quick so I can tell you.
Right. I don't know if I got his phone number in here.
You probably don't, but this is the one. I don't know. Did he?
I just email.
He sent you. Can you send it to his email?
No, I'm gonna send it through. I'm gonna send it right through his phone because it'd be better for him for me to send it to do it like that.
I'm not sure you can call me 50 times.
You could just show it to me. You ain't got to say it out loud.
I'm gonna tell you. Wait, hold on.
Oh, don't say it out loud.
Okay, I won't. But he just sent me a message. What are you talking?
You probably see it because maybe he didn't. I know he subscribed to the channel. Might be watching it right now.
Okay. Here it is. Can you see it up here at the top?
Okay, I got you.
You got all the
Yes, I got it.
And he was the one that came to me and said, "I want to work with you," because he came to my play, and he said, "Oh my God, I am so impressed with your writing."
That's all right. So, all right. So, yeah, go ahead. Explain to the people how they can keep up with Diane Mathis, whether you got a Facebook page.
I do.
You can give them all that information.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate inviting me. I hope I wasn't too chatty, but when I get to talking, I just get excited because I think about all that I've been through and
Yeah.
how God has kept me through some traumatic experiences in my life. I'm blessed. I'm grateful that I'm still here. I'm grateful that I've had the opportunities that I've had. Because I know a lot of people in this world don't reach their full potential because they're scared to reach out. They're scared to just do what they want to do
Mm-hmm.
for fear of rejection. I've been rejected. I've been rejected, but you know what? That's life.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually told at one time I couldn't sing. I
What?
was heck yeah. I
Well,
was
you
told.
can't tell by that
I
record I
was
just
told.
heard.
Let me tell you, I was told by a very reputable musician in the city of Detroit that asked me to do a session for him. And when I said I couldn't get anybody to come and do the background for me, I would just do it myself if that was okay. And he said, "Oh, well, I was told you just can't sing that good, so no, it's okay. I'll get somebody else to do it." I was like, wow, I ain't never been told that before, but that's what he said. He truly did. And then one day, a friend of mine asked me to sit in with her. She had the flu, and I went to her gig and sat in, and I sang "You Give Good Love" by Whitney Houston.
Mm.
And I have to say, I was changed. And he
Mm-hmm.
walked up to me and said, "What is your name?" And I told him my name, and he said, "Wow, you really can sing." And then when I said who I was, he said, "Do you know someone, so and so?" And I said, "Well, yeah, that's someone I'm married to." And he said, "Oh no, 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 I know it's wife." I said, "I'm his wife now. I don't know who you knew before, but she's not his wife anymore. I'm his wife." And that was when I was still married.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, "Well, I never heard you sing before." I said, "No, you never heard me sing before, but you sure told me on my phone that I couldn't sing." So I said, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
And
You
he was like,
forgot that he told you that,
he
huh?
said he never told me that. I said, "Oh, yes, you
Wow.
did, my brother. You told me that on the phone. Yes, you
Wow.
did." And after that, he kind of just like, he said it. He swear he said he didn't say that. And I said, "Okay, well, it's okay.
Mm.
I forgive you for saying it, but you did say it. That's
Mm.
the truth.
Mm. Mm.
I ain't lying about that." Because that hurt me to my heart. I said, "I've been singing all my life, and I've never been told like this." So I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay, well, maybe everybody ain't for everybody." Maybe he thought I didn't sound good to him, but he hadn't even heard me sing until he heard me sing "You Give Good Love." But
Wow.
that's just how strange
Well,
this
I
world
really
is.
enjoyed this conversation. I'm gonna definitely have to have you
Thank
back
you. I
so we
appreciate
can
it.
talk about a lot more because I know it's plenty to talk about, and you
Oh,
know
God.
we'd be all day sitting
I
up here
know.
talking.
I know. Well,
So
thank you. Handshake, sweet
I
brother. Thank
appreciate
you.
you,
God
sister.
bless you.
And there we is, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all show your love for Diane Mathis
Thank you.
with her new hot single, Welcome Back
Welcome back
Home.
home. That's right.
All right, and this is how we do it. You know, here at Blast Global Radio TV, we keep it creative and innovative. Those artists that would like their music played right here on Blast Global Radio and TV, y'all can send me that music to blastglobalmedia@gmail.com. That is blastglobalmedia@gmail.com. Also, stay tuned for the King Darius Show, which airs Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock p.m. and Promo God and the Kill Shot Hour at 11. Until the next time, peace. We live.